And on this week's edition of the BLAST Newscast.
The BLAST Newscast is proud to present a skit called The Real Youth Group, featuring two different interviews about what people think about youth groups. I'm Brian Bookout, and we'll have that story coming up.
A cold start to our spring, plus windy conditions and snow flurries in store for this week. I'm Levi Bennington, and I'll have further details in this week's weather forecast.
Those stories and a whole lot more can be seen on this week's edition of the BLAST Newscast.
For the week of March the 26th, 2013.
And now, coming to you live from our studios in Sharpsville, Indiana, Rachel Keller and Jacob Pyle.
Thank you, Chris Henry. Hello, and welcome to the BLAST Newscast. I'm Jacob Pyle.
And I'm Rachel Keller. We have a skit for you today that I'm sure you will like. We are going to be talking about what a youth group is. Today we are going to be featuring two different people who regularly go to Teen Blast on a regular basis, and they are going to provide their own point of view about what youth group is.
I should mention as well that one of these guys does have an idea about what it is, while the other person thinks he knows what he's talking about. This will be our 6th installment in our regular series of skits. So here to give more info about what the skit is all about is BLAST Newscast reporter Brian Bookout.
Thanks, Jacob. The skit that you are about to witness is an interview about what makes a real youth ministry. We have two different points of view on the matter, and you're about to witness it right now. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the BLAST Newscast is proud to present The Real Youth Group.
So what's the name of this group?
It's called Team Blast.
Where do you meet?
Hey, I don't meet there all the time. It's right next to the post office here in Sharpsville. You know, we meet there about once a week.
And you call this group
Team Blast, here in Sharpsville. We meet once a week.
once a week?
Well, everyone in the group meets once a week. But we have other activities too.
Like
Bible study and church camp and Acquire the Fire and other small group activities.
So what do you do at these meetings?
Man, we play games and drink soda. Sometimes somebody brings in chips.
You just sit around and play games? I don't believe you. What's the point?
I don't know. It's just a place to hang out, you know.
So do you have a lot of Bible study?
Yeah, that's the main focus.
What's another focus?
Growing together, making friends, forming a community.
You just hang out?
Yeah, that's it.
You're lying to me. Tell me the truth.
That is the truth. We don't do anything important.
And sometimes you do special things in the summer?
Yeah, we do all kinds of things for the people. For instance, last summer we had a car wash.
Wow, that's very interesting. And there's a leader for all this?
Yeah, Kendra and Desi. They are our youth pastors.
What does Kendra and Desi do?
They arrange activities and Bible studies. Kendra and Desi is in charge of it all.
And Kendra and Desi are like your mob bosses?
Well, Kendra and Desi is in charge. Sometimes they organize games and bring soda.
Bring soda? Come on, fess up. What do they make you do?
Nothing. Well, okay, sometimes they make us play really stupid games like tag or sardines, but nothing important.
We have a friend of yours in the next room giving us a different story. Well, what do you have to say to that?
I don't have anything more to say. I don't know what she's telling you, but I didn't do anything. We just hang out.
You know that's not what he says. Your friend next door, he says that you don't do anything. We'll play games and drink soda.
Really? That's odd. He was even at Bible study last week.
You saw him there?
Yeah, we prayed together. He led the prayer.
Last chance.
So your purpose is to grow together as a family by Bible study and serving others?
Yeah, we grow as Christ builds us up.
Well, I see what is happening here. Thanks for your time.
And so the moral of the story is this: take the time to learn more about your youth group and get to know it a lot more. Who do you trust on the matter? Being in youth group is a time to spend time with friends, but more importantly, to focus on God. God is a special God, and we can't do anything without Him. We hope you enjoyed the skit. For the BLAST Newscast, I'm Brian Bookout.
Thanks, Brian, and thanks to everybody who was involved with the skit. You guys did a really great job. So, were you guys paying attention? Which one of those people had the right idea about what a youth group is? Tabitha or Dustin? Well, if you guessed Tabitha, you are right. While a youth group is a time to hang out and socialize, it is also time to learn more about our Lord. You have to remember that everything we do here in Team BLAST, like this newscast, for example, we do it in the glory of the Lord. Just like the lyrics to the song Blessed Be the Name says, every blessing you pour out, I'll turn back to praise. And that is indeed true. At the end of the newscast, we are going to bring back everybody that was involved with the skit to take one more final bow. In the meantime, here with a look at our other headlines that are making news today is BLAST Newscast headline reporter, J.R. Clifton.
Thank you, Jacob. Hello, everyone. Here's our headlines for this week. On April 5th, Team BLAST will be leaving for Muncie, Indiana for Acquire the Fire 2013. The cost is $45, and we'll be leaving on the 5th after school, and we'll be there part of that Friday and all day Saturday. Spots will be limited, so if interested, talk to Kendra or Desi because it'll be first come, first serve. Team BLAST is now doing a candle fundraiser in order to raise money for Big Stuff Church Camp. If you are interested or want more information, talk to Kendra or Desi. And finally, an important reminder that if you still want to go to Big Stuff Church Camp in Panama City Beach, Florida, you need to get your $50 deposit into Kendra or Desi to secure your spot. We have 30 people going, and camp is nearly full. As of right now, a spot will be granted after you put your $50 deposit down. And once your $50 deposit is put in, the money cannot be refunded. So if you're still wanting to go to Big Stuff Church Camp, put in your $50 deposit before it's too late. Those are our headlines for this week. I'll be back at the end of the newscast for a preview of what you'll see on next week's edition. But for now, I'm J.R. Clifton.
Thank you, JR. And now it's time for our weather with our rain or shine weatherman, Levi Bennington.
Thank you, Rachel. Hello, everybody. It's the beginning of spring, but has it been feeling like spring? No, not really. In fact, it's still cold outside. We've been talking about some snow, ice, mostly rain. In fact, areas south of Indianapolis today issued a winter weather advisory. So will we be expecting temperatures to improve? According to this week's forecast, not really. So, my forecast for today calls for mostly sunny skies with windy conditions with a high of 36 degrees and a low of 23 degrees. Tomorrow, expect scattered flurries in our area with a high of 27 degrees and a low of 18 degrees. Hope you enjoy the rest of your week, whatever you do. I'm Levi Bennington, and that's today's weather.
The BLAST Newscast now has its own official website. It's at www.blastnewscast.weebly.com. Here you will find current episodes of the BLAST Newscast, catch up with past episodes of the newscast, get to know the people who make the BLAST Newscast possible, and even drop us a line with your questions, comments, suggestions, or ideas. As I said, it's all here at www.blastnewscast.weebly.com. That's www.blastnewscast.weebly.com. See you there.
For those of you who came to Tri-Central about a week ago, the school was sparkling with talent as the Tri-Central Choir presented its yearly musical, and this year it happened to be Hello, Dolly. We are delighted to have one of our supporting cast members of this year's musical with us. Of course, he's one of our BLAST Newscast reporters as well. Here's Rachel Keller talking with BLAST Newscast reporter Devin Carter about what it was like for him to be able to participate in this musical.
Thanks, Jacob. It takes a lot of skill and a lot of hard work putting together a good show every year. We have with us one of the supporting cast members with us that was involved in this year's musical, Hello, Dolly. He's BLAST Newscast's very own Devin Carter. So, Devin, before we talk a little bit more about the musical, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, as you know, I'm in the Team BLAST Newscast. I'm Devin Carter. I'm 14, and I just like serving the Lord.
So, Devin, what was it like to be part of this special experience?
Well, as an 8th grader and not being in high school, I thought it was a privilege to be part of the High School Musical.
Do you have a favorite character in this musical? And if so, please explain.
I kind of like the part of Horace Vandegelder. He's the second main character in the play. He owns a store, and it sounds like a fun role.
What was the most fun for you in participating in the musical?
Just being able to hang out with high schoolers.
And finally, if you had any advice to someone who might have stage fright and forgets all their words or lines or the lyrics to any song, what would you tell them?
I used to have stage fright. Just act silly sometimes. It helps.
Devin Carter, thank you for joining us today, and keep up the good work.
Hey, Mr. No Name, what does the Lone Ranger say when he takes out the garbage? I don't know. What does the Lone Ranger say when he takes out the garbage? To the dump, to the dump, to the dump, dump, dump. To the dump, to the dump, to the dump. Hey, buddy, I'm full of them. I can love the dump, 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 dump.
Hey, looking for something to do on a weekday afternoon? Come up and join us for Teen Blast. Our address is 210 South Main Street here in Sharpsville, Indiana, 46068. Anyone 6th grade or older is welcome. We're open after school on Mondays and Wednesdays through Friday from 3 to 6, and Tuesdays from 3 to 9, with Tuesday service from 6:30 to 8:30. Come join us, won't you?
Before we leave, let's give it up one more time for Brian Bookout, Rachel Keller, Dustin Clifton, Trent Byers, and Tabitha Freeholtz who participated in our skit. Good job, everybody. And now with a look at what you will be seeing on next week's newscast is BLAST Newscast headline reporter J.R. Clifton.
Thanks, Jacob. On next week's edition of the BLAST Newscast, we are going to go roller skating. We are going to show you some of Team BLAST's finest roller skaters, plus we are going to take a look at some pointers on how you can become a better skater. Join us as the BLAST Newscast goes roller skating. That's coming up on next week's edition of the BLAST Newscast. I'm J.R. Clifton. We'll see you then.
Thank you, JR. And now a brief program note. The BLAST Newscast will be filmed live next week from Hoosierland Roller Rink in Frankfort, Indiana. So we hope you can be able to join us for that. And with that, that will be it for this week. Thank you for joining us. I'm Rachel Keller.
And I'm Jacob Pyle. Until next week, good night, and God bless my friends.
This is Chris Henry speaking for the BLAST Newscast. This program has been